Hi, hello YouTube. First, I apologize for not having enough videos out there on a regular basis. This topic is going to be government philosophies, namely growing the government or shrinking the government. Those that want to grow the government have to create the need for a bigger government. Either they go to war and they need more soldiers, growing the Pentagon and the military side of the government, or they create more dependency, creating the social economic help part of their government. And this government, since this president has been in office, he has grown that dependency on government aid. And this can go all the way down to your local level on politicians. Okay, it's not just national. It could also be city, county, state, school board, whatever the assistance is. Well, if you're going to grow government, you can't just put a whole bunch more bodies into, say, unemployment, the unemployment department, unless you have more unemployed people that need assistance and your current workload can't handle it. Okay, it's like if you opened up a cleaning service and you had, say you had just a couple houses on your block. You could probably do it yourself, or maybe have one partner, one assistant. But if you're doing the whole community, the whole city, maybe a couple cities, you're going to need more employees because the people that need you has grown. Well, that's the way government works. The more people you can get unemployed, the more people you're going to need in that department to make sure that they get their checks. Same thing with food stamps. Those that need it, if you get more people that need it, you're going to have to give them that, you're going to have to hire more people to give them that money. Here's where people have not thinking when it comes to government and money. If they print more money, if they just go and print on the printer press and make more money, the value of that money is going to go down. Okay? Supply and demand. Okay? The more dollars you have floating around, the less value it's going to be worth. Alright? I've seen this small scale when I was getting what's called a housing allowance, and my housing allowance went up, and I went to go get a new apartment. They wanted to see my paycheck. They saw the housing allowance went up. They raised their rents for the next people, claiming that inflation went up. But everyone knew, because this is it was a small military town. Everyone knew that it was because the military was getting paid more for the housing allowance. All right, and raising the price, raising minimum wage to $15, all it's going to do is cause everything else to go up. Because if there's more dollars out there, then why not raise the price of the hamburger or the product that's sitting on the shelf and try to collect some more of that extra money that's floating out there? Okay? People will pay it because they have more spendable income thanks to the higher minimum wage, and companies are going to want more of that money so that they can pay their minimum wage. Think about it. You got a small little restaurant, 2 people. Say you got 2 people working for you. It's real small. Okay? It's a little, down here in the south we call them snowball stands. It could be a little hot dog stand on the side of the road. You got a couple people working for you. You're paying them $7.25 an hour, and your hot dogs are $1 each. And you're making a little bit of a profit. Not enough to give them $15 an hour, but enough to keep the business open. And, because if you're not making a profit, why have the business? The reason you open up a business is to make money. Simple as that. So you're making some money on hot dogs. Well, now the government tells you got to pay those employees $15 an hour. You either have to fire one of them and take that extra $7.25 and give it to the other person to get close to that 15 and then add 50 cents per hour to get to the 15, or you're going to have to raise the price of your product. So that dollar hot dog is now going to be a $3 hot dog or $4 hot dog, because you got to make up that cost. Otherwise, you're going to go belly up. All right? The government doesn't see that. In fact, they're probably even encouraging it, because then you have more government dependency. We'll create a small business assistance program where if you're not making a certain amount of money a year in your small business, we will give you the extra money. Well, think about this. The government doesn't actually earn its money. It either takes it in taxes or prints more, which deflates the amount of the, deflates the value of the dollar. All right? So they take more taxes. Well, you take more taxes away from people. Now you get more people needing more assistance. I need that assistance because I'm about to lose my house. Because you just made me pay more taxes. If I'm about to lose my house, I have to go to the government to get government assistance to help me afford my house. I need government assistance to help me bring food in my house. I need government assistance. And they are able to grow the government. Now, flip side of that, those that want to shrink the government, well, there's two ways of doing it. And this is what you got to find out from the politician that's claiming to shrink, that they want to shrink the government. One, are you going to cut the service and leave people stranded? Or are you the type that's going to get these people off of that system so then you can close it down? Okay? You think about it. If less people were unemployed, you can shrink the unemployment department. If less people used food stamps, you can shrink the food stamp department. If less people used the housing assistance, you can shrink that department. If you secure the borders better, you can shrink Border Patrol a little bit. If you secure those that wish us harm, you can shrink the military down. In other words, and how you secure those that wish us harm, especially those overseas, you promote people rule. You promote those that want peace. You fight those that want war. Okay? You beat those that want war, and you help those that want peace. All right? Regardless of why they're waging the war. Okay? If you want stability in the world, you got to fight for that stability. Keep people within their borders. Promote, people rule as opposed to dictatorships, monarchies, stuff like that. But getting back to cutting the government. Those that want to just cut the program, they say, well, I'm all for shutting that system down. Well, anyone who's needing that system is going to be against that, against you doing that. But if you go out there and say, look, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to help the economy create jobs. Then as the unemployment rate goes down because people are actually getting jobs, not because I'm not counting them anymore because they ran out of unemployment checks, because you only allowed so many, and then they just stopped giving them to you. It's called the chronic unemployed. But if I get you a job, and I get enough people a job, I can start cutting back on my staff for the unemployment department. Okay, I may not be able to cut that department completely gone, but I can shrink it down. That goes with all the systems. Okay, NASA. All right. When they decided that NASA was no longer going to do be the sole provider for satellites going up into space, civilians can do it. Civilian companies can do it. They were able to shrink down NASA a little bit. Okay? They're trying to do that with the military. Even though the world is not stable, they're trying to do it to the military. They're trying to shrink the military down. By closing the bases, they can fire or get rid of people. All right? The costliest thing in business is people, especially with the military, because military, you're paying them, you're feeding them, you're giving them health care, which means you need doctors. You're giving them food, so that means you need cooks. You're giving them a place to stay, which means you need somebody to manage that building. Okay? And issue linen and stuff like that. And take care of the common areas of that building where they live. Alright? So cutting the base down, you're cutting a lot of positions that you don't need anymore. Alright? Now if we did that across the board with all the government agencies, we can actually shrink the government down. If you made America more secure, TSA can shrink down. You can get private organizations back to the airports for security. Just have oversight on them if you want universal across the board. But we're finding out that TSA is not universal across the US. Certain pockets have certain higher restrictions, and some areas have power-hungry people who want more checks, more checks on people and stuff. Because when TSA first came out, they said expect 2-hour delays at airports. Well, all the airports I went into never had 2 hours. Never had 2 hours of waiting in line. Then again, I never went through LAX, LaGuardia Airport, O'Hare. I did go through Atlanta. I went through Minneapolis. I went through Dallas. I went through a couple others that I can't even remember now since 9/11. But never have I had 2 hours of wait time in a security line. So my point is, basically getting back to your politicians and their philosophies. Those that want to grow the government and think that government is the answer for things needs that base of people that need the assistance. In other words, your poor, less sufficient people, self-sufficient people. That is why they don't want people going up the ranks from low income, middle income, upper middle, upper class. They don't want that economic level to rise in anybody, because then you lose the ability to expand the government, because you lose those people that need the support. That is why today they villainize success. They look at people like Trump and Gates and all these other really rich people, Zuckerberg and all them, that made their money, and they villainize them. If you made your money on Wall Street, they villainize you. If you made your money off of a job, you created your own business, they villainize you, saying you didn't earn that money. You are just riding on the backs of those workers. How dare you do that? Because they don't want people to move up. Because as soon as you move up, you don't need that assistance. And the justification for the bigger government is gone. So check your politicians. Find out when they say they want to cut a program, how are they going to cut it? Are they just going to say, sorry, SOL, all you people who are on it, I'm just cutting you off now because I'm shutting this down? Or are they saying, let's get you off of it, then I can shut it down? Okay? And those that want to grow the government, remember, they get their money by taking money from the taxpayer. When taxes were first introduced, the income taxes, they were temporary. After the Civil War, they stopped. Then World War I came along, and they started it up again to help fund the war. Well, then they claimed that World War II followed too closely behind World War I, and it's never left since. Temporary became permanent, as far as income tax goes. So they take it from us. They are taking our money, our hard-earned money, so that they can give it to people who need the assistance, and give it to the government workers that they now have to hire to ensure that those that need the assistance get it. Okay? They are growing the government with our taxpayer money. Alright? Look it up. Look up the Constitution and what the government was supposed to do. federal government was supposed to be keep the states from discriminating against each other. In other words, Ohio can't say Florida oranges are going to cost more than California oranges because we don't like Florida. We disagree with Florida. Can't do that. This ban on government officials going to Carolina because of the gender policy is against federal constitutional law. It is not right for one state to discriminate against another state. That's one thing the government was supposed to do. Second thing the federal government was supposed to do was provide protection for the entire U.S. A standing army to defend. That way we didn't need the Massachusetts Brigade. We didn't need the New York Army. We didn't need an army coming out of Georgia. We didn't need an army out of Virginia. We had one standing army protecting all of the states. And that's it. That's all the government was supposed to do. The states were supposed to do everything else. The government was supposed to make sure that every state played fair with each other and that there was protection to all the states from outside sources. That's all the government was supposed to do. So look into that. That's government philosophy. And I'll send the next class as soon as I can think of another topic. So I apologize for the irregularity of these videos. Thank you, and like, subscribe, share, leave comments if you will, and I'll see you next time.